I don't like Kanye West. Take him to the West. What is up, party people? Welcome back to the podcast where it's calm, collected, and we ready to go, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go. We back. I'm back from Malaysia. I'm rejuvenated. I've eaten some good food.
Nice.
Chendol, roti canai, all that. I'm having a good time. But it's Nick's turn now.
Yeah, he's in Singapore having a good ass time.
He's in Singapore, Malaysia, both.
We're gonna buzz that. Can't say that word.
If you see him on his stories, part 1, 2, 3, all up to 39.
Yeah, if you're not there yet, you're missing out.
Yeah, of Korea meets Malaysia.
Hit
Best
those
series
stories
yet.
That's
on
right.
Instagram.
My favorite. Do them more, Nick.
Yeah, what's happening? What's been going on, Jara? How you been?
Oh, by the way, it's not just Ethan and myself on today. We actually have Dinda as well. She's just not with us on the couch, but she's behind the screen today.
Yeah. Say hi, Dinda.
Yeah, say hi, Dinda.
Hi.
Is it on?
Hello. I think it's on.
Okay.
All right, good. There she is. In the background.
In there, somewhere.
Yeah, so if you guys hear a voice
It's the spirit of Christmas.
in the background, it's Dinda, not the Holy Spirit, all right?
But double check on that one.
Yeah, okay, all right, yeah. Anyways, yeah, so
today,
yes. Today we're going to talk about, a topic that never grows old because it's always a constant thing in our lives, right? And that's boundaries.
Boundaries,
okay.
walls. Invisible walls in social life.
That's right, man. And they say leave a little room for Jesus. I take that seriously.
Yep.
I really do.
Distancing's hard? Leaving room for Jesus?
That's right.
That should be normal.
So we're going to talk about some things and some stories that we have in terms of like these boundaries that we have. And I guess mostly in relation to, boundaries can apply to a lot of things like friendships. It can also apply to relationships or even like just in general.
Yep.
Yeah. So like, we're going to get into that.
Yep.
But maybe we should explain what we mean by boundaries. Because the thing is like, some people might not understand that because I know people growing up, like Dinda was sharing with us earlier that, or she can share this story later, but like in her high school, like these guys, like they just greet each other with hugs and stuff like that, right? For myself, in my high school life, that was a thing, but also people would get the wrong idea easily.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm more of a side hug guy and a handshake guy.
The double tap.
And then moving forward in life, it's become quite a problem. And we'll get into that a little bit later on. But boundaries is what we would like to define as leaving a little bit of room for Jesus. Leave a gap for him.
That's true.
He needs some room to operate. Give it to him, right? And I do that. I give so much room for Jesus to be in there, But then it's also become my...
His undoing.
My undoing. But yeah, anyways, dude. Where should we start with this? Because boundaries can apply, because all of us here are involved in leadership with youth and stuff. And of course, in that kind of setting, boundaries is very important.
Yeah.
Right, correct. Because then, obviously, it may lead to bad things, right? Yeah. But then there's also relationships with that. So, I guess we could touch on every single one. Yep. Maybe not all, and we will. And then we will talk about where Jesus comes into all of this, because obviously,
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So, Ethan, how should we go? How should we start with this? Honestly, we just thought about this topic, just film. We were actually meant to talk about something else. Honestly, full disclosure, because guys, we're honest and genuine with you guys, and we were going to talk about something completely different, but we just started talking about this, and we just felt like, maybe we should talk about this instead. So
Okay, wait. So boundaries. What is it? It's obviously the social protective barrier. So, in perspective, if you want to imagine with me, guys, close your eyes together, and we will talk about it. So,
like a guided meditation.
Essentially, if let's say guy, girl, don't matter. If you see your crush and everything, you won't straight up hug them, right? You won't hug them like fully and just like touch them in a weird way, right? Obviously, you would, maybe take it easy, maybe give them a dap, maybe a handshake and everything. That's boundaries. You know what I mean? That's leaving room for something else. You know what I mean? Leaving room for respectful nature, for respectful behavior, if you know what I mean. So I think that's what boundaries is for me. And also, not only physical contact, but also how you speak to them and everything. You know what I mean? One way I may speak to my friend that I'm hella close with wouldn't be a way that I would speak to a random stranger. That's boundaries, I guess. That's how I put it.
Mm.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what is it to you?
I guess it depends on what hat I'm wearing, my guy. I think if it's like leadership and with youth and stuff like that, well, the boundaries have to be pretty set in stone and pretty strict, and you got to be firm about them. Like, for example, like you can't actually. Well, I mean, I've broken rules in the past, but my hands are clean. Okay, let me just say that. All right, don't do any backup checks on me. I'm clean. But so like in the beginning, like let's for example, I used to have like mentees, mentors. That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Normally, it's strongly suggested that you don't mentor someone of the opposite gender.
Yeah.
But sometimes those rules are broken.
Yep.
Just because sometimes you feel like you can actually grow that person,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
In
If
one
you
aspect.
discern and like you talk to God about it and you have a peace about it,
Yep.
by all means, like no one can question it because that's between you and God, right?
Yeah.
So there are situations like that. But even then, so you need to set those boundaries. Like, look, this is a relationship where I'm your mentor.
Yep.
Okay, that's kind of what I am. Nothing more than that. We don't do this. We don't do that. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You make some rules basically,
Yep.
and you abide by them because
Yeah.
you're just covering yourself and them.
That's
because in a position of leadership, it's very easy to manipulate people.
Yeah. Especially
And
when they're
if-
very young.
yeah, and
Youth especially.
Unknowingly as well yourself, you don't know. Like
Yep.
people just groom people.
Yeah.
And like before you know it, you're grooming your perfect girlfriend, right?
Yeah,
In your mind, and
legit.
that's bad.
Yep.
I do not condone that. That's terrible. Okay, but yeah, so that's why I see boundaries in terms of like
It's important.
as a
It's very
leader, right?
important, yeah.
But boundaries as a friend or like with opposite people of the opposite gender, it's like, yeah, I would say like it's making sure that you're careful with your like your movements and stuff. Like
Yeah,
don't be so touchy.
Yeah.
Like see, frontal hugs is something that I'm very foreign with. So I'm a side hug guy and a handshake guy, like I said earlier. So that's kind of how I greet people that I don't really know for the first time because I don't want I'm just not that kind of person. I
Yeah.
think in my previous experience, younger in high school and stuff, I think I've kind of programmed myself to put that wall there.
Yeah.
Because I just don't want people to get misunderstandings because
Yep,
I've
yep.
had that before and it's just like
Yeah.
you don't want to deal with that. It's
Yeah.
like I hurt this person. And I wasn't even meant to. I was just being nice.
Yeah.
And like, sure, you could say like, people just need to wise up.
Yep.
But like, you gotta be considerate of other people as
Yeah,
well. You don't
you have
want
to be
to,
considerate. That's true.
play mind. They might think you're playing mind games with them. Why does he just hug me and no one else? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, it just so happens that maybe that one time I was like, I feel like hugging today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like, I mean, I'm not saying that people can't do that. That's just my own personal thing. Like,
Yep.
I'm trying to break through. Okay, I'm trying to break out of that, and we'll go through some stories in a second. But yeah,
That's true.
that's me. Dinda, what about yourself, man? Like, I know you're not on screen and stuff, but you're still just as involved in this podcast as us. All right. So what do you think? I mean, because you've heard our perspective, and like, it's good that you're here because we have like obviously we're biased. We're
men.
We're men. We're guys.
Yeah.
But it could be different for girls. So, Dinda, what's boundaries for you?
Boundaries for me, I think.
Yo, is your mic on? Check if it's on. Is it up?
Yeah.
So,
Okay, go on.
It's on.
All right, all right.
It's on, right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
on.
Okay.
It's just very like small, but
Okay.
it's fine.
All right, cool.
What are we talking about? Boundaries.
Yeah, like what do you define as boundaries for yourself?
yeah.
I think it's just a way to make sure of some things, like boundaries in friendships because I feel like there are a lot of boundaries, like physical boundaries, emotional boundaries,
Ooh.
those kind of stuff.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think boundaries are needed to make sure that our interactions are still in the healthy spectrum.
True.
Yeah, it's not always keeping like people out of your bubble, but it is also like something that is for ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's to protect some things that is for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense? I feel like
Yeah.
I need to think.
Yeah, sorry.
That's
See,
fine.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Better.
We'll let you formulate some thoughts
Yeah,
in the
formulate some
background
thoughts.
Okay.
and questions. I mean, like you don't have to talk so much, but just go ahead if you feel like there's a moment when you're just like, I'm going to question the boys on this. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, wait. So, was there a moment, or maybe you can even talk about like a time where you may have realized you're like pushing a boundary on someone, or like, yeah, if you've broken a boundary, or like maybe someone has broken a boundary on you. You know what I mean? Like to show like kind of the and like maybe you had a moment where you realize how important boundaries are, kind of. If you don't have one, I can kind of talk about it.
Yeah, maybe you go first.
Okay, because going back to the leadership thing, the reason why we also have boundaries is also for like to set an example for others as well. So like I think there was a moment where like some youth kids can get very attached to you.
Oh yeah.
Like some youth kids can like, and even people can get really attached to you. So then it's also like making sure that not only you're just not just friends, but also like you're a leader, and you're like even as a Christian, maybe sometimes you like seen differently. So you have to have a conversation about it. You
Yeah.
have to have conversations
Yeah.
about it. So when that happened, you just have to like, and it's great to like be aware of it. I think boundaries nowadays is not taught like in school and everything. You know what I mean? How to like respect women, how to respect each other and everything. And like one thing that really matters is realizing that some people don't have the same boundary as you. You might love a good handshake or a hug or anything, right? But some introverts, like
don't like
obviously
being touched.
don't want that physical contact. So you
yeah.
have to. So in that moment, I had to realize, oh, like my boundaries are actually super small compared to like all these other youth kids and everything. So I have to realize that, and I have to think about how I'm gonna act with other people. So boundaries is not something that, oh yeah, these are my boundaries. I'm gonna like these people can approach me however they want. But it's also, how are you going to like go to that person? How are you going to like approach this? You know what I mean? Because I think I mean, like Linda says, like 3 different boundaries, emotional and everything. So like you're not gonna go to like a grieving person and be like, yo man,
that,
like
yeah.
yo man, you want to go out and get some drinks and everything, you know, like you know what I mean. You're gonna be careful. You're gonna
Yeah.
be aware of the emotional boundary that is very fragile. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
for
a fragile
sure.
boundary.
That
you know what I mean?
that's
Yeah.
a great point.
Yeah. So that's one.
I
Yeah.
have a story to tell.
Yeah.
So when I was a youth leader, like back in Indo, this is like I was like way younger, and I feel like this is one of the things that I also learned. I hope the mic is okay because I can hear.
Yeah, keep
myself.
talking. I'm gonna like
Yeah. So I had a guy best friend, and we're kind of like platonic to the point where like I know that if we hug or anything like that, it's like chill. You know what I mean? Don't you give me that look?
Okay.
Okay. No,
So
but like okay,
sensual hug.
this was like
Just chill.
ages ago.
yeah.
And there was this time I remember like it was on a Saturday. I was like on a worship practice with like some of the youth, and then the guy back hugged me.
Oh
But it was
no.
not like in front of the youth. But it was
No.
not like a. But I know
It's a
that
breach.
like there's nothing between us. I think
Yep.
it was just, you know what I mean. Like
Yep.
I can't really explain on behalf of him, but it's just like I know that it meant nothing.
Nothing.
But
The
again, it was
image.
in front of the youth,
Yep,
and as much
exactly.
as like we know that it meant nothing like that, like it was a good maybe like 20-30 seconds of a back hug.
Yes.
Like it was not like just like that and then that's
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean?
That's
And
painful.
I think, and then like obviously our supervisors kind of like had a talk, like sit us down, and then like we had a talk of
Yeah,
like, hey,
yep.
like you know, at the end of the day, yes, maybe you guys are platonic,
Yep.
but you guys have to remember that even though like he was not a youth leader, like he
Yeah.
was, like he was serving at the church, but
Yep.
like not in the youth.
Yep.
Yeah, they were just kind of like remind us that at the end of the day, we are the one who like we are the leaders,
Yeah.
regardless the
Yeah.
position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we have to set an example,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and because it would be so easy for them to just like, oh, we can't do that, but my leader does that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be
Ooh,
the
don't want that.
what is it called, the
Fun.
Stumbling block.
stumbling block. Correct.
Yeah. Not true.
Yeah. So I guess that's one of the things that I also learned within like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
church.
Boundaries are important. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think one of the things that I always keep in mind since then is like perception is bigger or it's more important than intention. So even though the intention wasn't like that,
Yeah.
but the perception does matter.
That's
Nice.
a good one.
That's good.
That's a real good
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for me.
100%.
No, that's literally a very good point, because the thing is like you're not just being mindful of or like setting these boundaries for you and yourself. Oh no, no you, but that person and yourself.
Yeah.
But you gotta be mindful of the people around you as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like
because they have
you could-
boundaries as well.
You could stumble there.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, I always like to take an extreme, but it really just sets perspective. Like with that hugging thing and everything, right? Like, and this goes to PDA. We're talking about PDA as well, right? The reason why everyone doesn't like it is because everyone's not comfortable. Their boundaries is like
Yeah.
why are you doing it here? So if you're making out in a funeral, it's like, why are you
Wait,
doing
what?
it, right?
Wait, making out in a what now?
in a funeral, as in like, you know what I mean?
That's so
like,
extreme.
there's a
That's-
time and place for it. You know what I mean?
Have you
There's
seen
a
that
time
happen
for it.
before?
Yeah, I
Hell
was
no,
like-
I hope
Okay,
not.
I was gonna say,
hope
what
not.
a very specific
Yeah, I
example.
know. It's very specific. I'm sorry. it just came in my head, I guess. But yeah.
But you're
it's
right.
like-
Yeah, yeah.
It's like you have to be aware, and yeah, I totally agree. Perception is because, like, dude, I could be like really platonic with like a friend, like a opposite gender friend, but like the way other people may see it is like, wow, you guys are really touchy. You know what I mean, and everything. And like,
Yeah.
you want to say something different. And having a conversation is not the worst thing to have. Maybe you even find out some underlying feelings, but we don't know. But anyways, yeah.
I just had a thought. What would you think for some people? Because I know some people like are just very platonic with how they are. They don't mean anything by what they do. Well, like what you're talking about, like the intention is not what is meant to be perceived,
Yeah.
right? It's like people are just naturally just touchy, right? And they don't mean nothing by it.
Yeah.
That's just how they are,
That's me. I'm sorry.
right?
That's
But
me
the
too.
thing is like, because I'm the total opposite. I'm like, you touch me, I feel like you've you know
Yeah.
you've done like a sin.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not good, right?
True.
Yeah.
Girl or boy, it doesn't matter, right? But see, the thing is, like, how do you tell someone, like, hey, look, man, leave some room for Jesus? You know? Basically, I'm
Say exactly
like,
that.
in a way, you could interpret that me saying, don't be yourself. How can you, from like you said, you identify yourself as a person that's quite touchy, right? How do
identify as
you
touchy, yes.
how do you put these boundaries in for yourself? And do you find it like, is it hard because you find like you're not being your true self?
Ooh.
Or have you found other ways to be yourself in different ways?
We're getting into it. I like this. I like this. I like this. Okay. Well, I think one really healthy, one way where a youth kid did it actually, because I was like, "Hey man, nice to meet you. I want to go for a handshake." This is a really quiet, like kid. He's a guy. He's a boy, right? He's like, "Hey, I don't really feel comfortable shaking your hand." I was like, "Dude, totally fine." I know it sounds bad, right? And you may feel as a touchy person like, "Oh, dude, that sucks. I can't show him my appreciation of him being here."
Yeah.
But you have to be able to be flexible around that.
Right.
You have to be able to use. Look, I realized myself as well. Do you know how we like to say our love languages and everything, and like we have a high one and we have a low one.
Yeah.
At some point, guys, we're gonna have to tap into the low ones because when it's Christmas time, I gotta tap into my lowest one, which is gift giving. But like in that situation, for me, it would have to be like quality time spent with this kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even though I may not be able to physically touch this like kid. Balls, but you know what I mean, like to be
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
like show appreciation, or like
Yeah.
maybe he's having a hard time. It's just to be there
Yeah.
for him. So I think it's really hard, honestly, as like a super high physical touch love language kind of guy, to be able to do
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
I legit have to tap into something else. And look, I'm not gonna say it's a easy journey because for me, it's like when especially at the end of high school, I realized like physical touch is like has led to like misinterpretation on like what I'm doing to like this person. Cause like, dude, I love when I'm able to hug someone and everything. And bro, I've like been in that situation where I've like back hugged a person and like I realized after like, that's really weird. That's really gross. Cause a front hug is something, but a back hug is like
that's
low
something
key.
else.
They can't consent to it. They can't
Yeah.
consent to it.
Yeah.
No.
That one I'm
So
a bit.
now,
It's a bit debatable, that
Yeah.
one. It's
Yeah.
like with the whole intention. I don't know your friend in Indonesia and stuff like that, but like for me, like from the get go, I'm like a behind hug is quite intimate.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Because you're vulnerable, first and foremost,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And that kind of hug is shared between like people that are romantically involved with each other,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So when I was
yeah.
younger, I thought it was fine,
Yeah,
right? But now,
exactly.
like as I grow up and all that, and I experience this stuff as well, I feel like that's a bit too much for like between a guy and a girl
That's
as
true.
friends. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, I think that's also like one of the things that we kind of, I don't know, can point out is like that journey itself. Like sometimes it's not taught. Like we kind
Yeah.
of like
to
learn
experience it,
as
yeah.
we go.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
kind of like suck. But I really respect that kid though.
Yeah,
Who
legit.
actually talked to
Yeah.
you like that, because it's not easy to actually say,
Say it. Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was this kid like is he like an introvert?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah,
he's a-
that's the thing
Respect.
I respect about introverts is that they speak their mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like even though they people exhaust them, they still have the energy to tell you how they feel.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
respect that. I respect that. Even as someone myself that likes to be energized by the people around me,
Yeah.
I find it difficult sometimes to really express how like what I feel by that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, true.
But yeah, I mean, going back to your love languages and stuff, it's actually interesting because I'm reminded by my own. You would be surprised that my top love language is actually touch, and my second is quality time, or it might be
Dang.
the other way around. Which
Yep.
is, I know, it's like, really? Is it really?
Yeah.
But it's like what I've been saying before. It's maybe because like I've just reprogrammed myself to be like, yeah, maybe don't do that. you
Yeah.
know? But I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but I like to tap the shoulder a lot. I don't know. I do that. It's very
I
subtle.
think I realize that now too.
I mean, with the kids, if you see me handle them, okay, not in a very, very, not in a bad way.
Disclaimer.
Not in a bad way, but you know, it's like it's like, you know, like dapping them up, you know,
Oh, yeah.
in the
Oh,
shoulders, you know,
dabs are like,
you know. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the other. You
dabs
know.
are cool. Like I realized, like I started dapping up my grandma as well when I went back to Malaysia.
Yeah.
It's like showing real, like it's
It's
now
almost-
a bound,
yeah.
like an easy way to go past.
It's like a hand hug.
yeah, yeah.
That's what it is.
especially,
That's
yeah.
what a dap is,
But
guys.
Yeah.
No, okay, wait. For like, obviously, we keep saying, oh, like it's not really taught, but you kind of have to experience it, right? Was that like, yeah? When did you kind of realize that you had to do more handshakes or anything?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was there any time for that? Because I struggled with boundaries until the end of high school. And like, I'm not even kidding, but like, I found it really hard. Like the start of the year after, I found it really hard to talk to a lot of my friends that are girls. So actually, like, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. Maybe it's just my season, but my introvert percentage, because I did the test like in start of the year, half of the year. So like, my introvertedness like actually went up by like 10%.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I realized that myself like I couldn't like I had to be aware of their boundaries and like
Yeah.
the perception and everything.
Yeah.
So that's when I started learning about
Yeah.
like boundaries, I guess, and how I just like I kind of have to go around it. So I'm not like
Yeah.
it's like different.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like how I learned. Did you guys go through kind of that?
Yeah, it's like how Dinda described it before. It's like kind of like a journey. Like I think for me initially between like girls my age and stuff, like people that could potentially be like romantic interests.
Yeah.
Right? I've already set that boundary way back in the day. Like
Yeah.
because like I said, I've hurt people just
Yeah.
by
Just by being you, right?
I know,
Sucks,
but,
yeah.
but I mean, like, but that's why you learn this, and you're like, okay, maybe that's why boundaries are important.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all innocent, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, some people might take that the wrong way,
Yep.
and it will hurt someone. You don't want that, right?
Yeah.
And I've done that a lot. I've hurt people in the past. It's not good. I don't feel good about it, and that's why I've closed up in that sense.
Yeah.
But as I became a leader, I had to learn a different type of boundary. Yeah, I know. Like again, it's like. It's platonic. I'm safe. I'm covered. I know what I mean by what I'm doing, but people on the outside might not see that.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I may have forgotten. Like if I went back in the past now, I would tell myself in certain situations, oh, maybe you should have said this or you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
You know, like allowing kids to just like I guess get comfortable with me in a way. You know, like tackling me or like some of the girl sillies that I used to have are like pretty handsy.
Yeah,
I'll be honest,
they
they're
were,
pretty
yeah,
handsy. And like from someone like if I look back at myself, then I'm like, ooh, sus, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like this leader need to be checked up on, you know.
Exactly,
But back
yeah.
then I didn't think that. But yeah, I think sometimes you just have to be that boundary is set to protect us. It's not
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And yeah,
And sometimes you also can't really, like, sometimes we say, like, oh, nah, yeah, platonic and all that. Or, like, oh, nah, like, it's fine, we're cool.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, there are emotions that come into play that
Yeah.
sometimes you can't control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, I think with texting as well, I also have, like, some lessons learned
Yeah.
of, like, how to, like, sometimes be mindful in like texting someone.
Yeah.
Like now, like I don't really like texting after 12 midnight,
Ooh,
kind of
yeah.
like, you know, you'll get in the vibes
Yep,
and all that.
yep,
It's like
yep.
it's different. Like, and I don't
Yep.
know like when exactly I learned this. I can't really pinpoint. I think
Yeah.
it's just like a journey of just like I know myself when like you're texting midnight onwards and it's just the vibe is just different
Yeah.
and you just have to be
Yeah.
mindful because we know that the enemy is also strategic in this
True.
kind of stuff.
True.
So like how can we actually prevent ourselves? You know how like
Yeah.
in the Bible like it says like like God said to David to like run from like the
Yeah, to
temptations. I
avoid,
think
yeah.
it's the same thing with us as
Yeah.
well. Like,
Yeah.
like to be aware of those things.
100%.
That's
like,
so true.
You don't want to put yourself in any compromising positions. Like,
Yeah.
it's not good.
Yeah, all legit. Like, I think I remember a time where I like caught myself. It was at a party actually. Yeah. Anyways, like I don't know. I just
Okay.
I just for
What was
myself.
that,
okay,
Ethan?
I'll be full disclosure. I had this moment when I just said at this party. I was like, I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm getting old now in my head. I know it's bad to say in front of Jara and didn't
You're
Excuse me?
19.
Anyways, but like, yeah, so it was at a party and like, yes, alcohol was involved. Yes. Okay. But that's just how it is. Okay. And so then I kind of realized like, oh, I was meeting a lot of old friends.
Yeah.
And old past like friends that are girls in primary school and high school and everything.
Your ex crush.
You know what, whatever you want to call it or whatever.
Okay.
So like, I'm like saying hi and everything. And I realized like, I'm like not, like I thought back then, like, looking back at the party, like in that moment, I was just like, oh, just saying hi, being nice, right? But then coming out, like my friends like kind of caught me and was just like, dude, you were like really like hugging these people. You were really like you were close. You know what I mean? You were like super close to them, and like, yeah, like in that
man.
situation. You need to run, bro. And like, I wish my friends called me then, but obviously I can't rely on them. But for me, that's me understanding, okay, like in that situation, maybe it's after 12 or everything, I tend to push boundaries, you know what I mean? I tend to like try and go further than like what I'm actually intending to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, you may not have intended to like maybe hug someone, but
Yeah.
you're drunk and or like you're tipsy, you know what I mean? Okay, I've never been drunk before, but you're tipsy, okay? You're tipsy, so like you're brave, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people may see it as like, oh, does he have feelings? You know, he's tipsy. But it's just
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
I didn't have any
Yeah.
intention, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a great point actually to
Yeah.
bring up with alcohol and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
yes, that Christians do drink alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. But the thing is, like, again, it's actually like, with the boundaries thing. Obviously, when you're under the influence, these boundaries start to kind of come down a little bit,
Yeah,
right? You
legit.
get
Yeah,
brave,
yeah,
like
you
you
get
said.
brave. Yep.
So I think also like in the setting that you're in, you're like, okay, I'm gonna drink, and I may become a little bit tipsy.
yeah.
Is this the right environment
Exactly.
for that? I think it is also a time and place. There's nothing wrong with drinking. Obviously, don't get too slapped up about it. But like, you know, obviously, if you're in that situation where I don't know, there's a lot of girls or whatever, a lot of
Yeah.
boys or whatever
Yeah.
that may be potential interest, maybe you should tone it down on that, or maybe be mindful
Yeah,
of that. So I think that's a good
No, it's
good thing to bring
that's
up.
why I'm not against clubbing or anything, but I don't understand like kind of getting drunk at clubbing or like out in public, because in that moment your boundaries are down. You know what I mean? You don't know what's happening. You're not conscious for it, essentially, or like you're not aware.
You don't have any control.
Yeah, exactly. So like as a person, not even a Christian, let's just like think of as a just people. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Kind of like
Yeah,
you're allowing someone to invade your privacy and like you're like go past your walls and just to do whatever they want. For
I
you.
understand that, but I don't think we should hold our standards on other people just
Yeah.
because. I
That's
get
true.
what you mean.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
we grew up the same in a Christian household, and to
Yeah.
us, we were like, I don't understand why.
Yeah, I
why
mean,
would
it's a
you
good
do
time.
that?
I understand it's a good time,
right? But
yeah.
for them, it's like they don't see it like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
they see
yeah.
a good time. True.
If,
like
if
girls,
you're listening, you live that kind of life. Hey, we ain't judging you.
Yeah, no, legit though.
Go live
Like,
your life, man.
As much as it is, like I understand. Like it is.
That's
a good time.
That's
It's-
kind
But
of
yeah,
another
it-
conversation.
That's
Yeah.
another
I feel
conversation.
like, yeah.
I mean, yeah. Look, us
I have
Christians
things
live
to
life
share.
on hard mode, you know. So that's what we
Yeah.
do. We're just playing on.
Yeah, let's go back again. Where was our? What was our last question?
We're talking about like good question.
All the compromising position.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, let's talk a little bit more now into like how does God play a role in this? Like,
Yeah.
I think more rather than taking scripture and like quoting it and stuff like
Yeah.
that, it's more like just what the Bible kind of stands for. And when he talks about relations with people and like upholding people above yourself,
Yep.
in a way, that's what you're trying to do, right? Because when you set boundaries, you're like, well. I'm not, because if you didn't do that, you're not actually thinking about others. You're thinking about yourself, right?
yeah.
Because it's selfish to
Yeah.
take these boundaries away, because
Yeah.
then you're manipulating the situation and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So like in a way, I would say that that's how I would. Okay, don't call me like I'm like misquoting scripture and stuff like that, but I would say that that's along those lines. Because when it says uphold others above yourself, it's not just simply just being kind or like putting clothes on their back and stuff like that, but it's also these little things like boundaries that help other people grow. And like we don't want to stumble people, right?
Yeah.
See, like, I'm going to mention these names because I'm pretty sure people in the Christian world are tired of hearing them, but there's a lot of people, like, covered in controversy, right? Because they just didn't set boundaries. And look, we're all human beings,
Yeah.
okay? And no one's judging for them for their actions. But see, like, because they didn't set those boundaries, now everyone that has known them around the world has been affected by that.
Yeah.
And it affects people's faith
Yeah.
and stuff like that as well. So that's how I would tie it in with the word.
That's true. Yeah.
You guys agree?
Yeah, no. definitely
Yeah,
agree.
that was off the dome, freestyling. Hope you guys are impacted by that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
But I guess we can go into like, I mean, if you guys have anything else to add on that front, maybe we can go a little bit into like some of our stories and like, I guess, your self-discovery in terms of boundaries and where you're at right now with boundaries and stuff,
Yeah.
and like how it plays a role in your life.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Dina?
I think I just want to add, like, I found this, like, not quote, but it's just like it talks about how boundaries need to exist in relationships because it actually protects the meaning of true love, how it's supposed to be like pure, how it's supposed to be like genuine and all that. While like boundaries, like it's a protection of the love that we're supposed to actually share.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just gonna add that for now. Yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah.
That's true.
I feel like that helps reinforce my point a little bit. That's pretty good.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Ethan?
Yeah.
I guess, like, leaving room for Jesus for me, I guess, is like also, I don't know, like, if you go into a relationship, I feel like, yeah, you're gonna walk like a journey with God together, but also like being able to like be apart from it and to be able to like walk with Him like alone, and like just in any friendship and everything, just to be able to like, or like, I don't know, like sometimes it may suck to be able to like, oh, like, sorry guys, I can't come out on a Friday night or anything. I think like that's for me, leaving room for Jesus, to be able to like allow Him to like still be in your life. It's like to be able to like, it may not be a huge boundary, but like the boundary of time maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Putting them in types. Yeah. But that's for me.
Yeah, I think I like to think about it as like we actually are honoring the people and ourselves
Yeah.
in Jesus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not, like instead of, because I think sometimes the connotation can be like negative and like, ooh, too strict kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's actually like we're just honoring and actually putting values in ourselves and other people. Yeah.
Is there a time where it's okay to break boundaries?
Whoa, that is a wonderful question.
Because I was watching something earlier this morning. I was like, just like a lot of like, what's his name, Jordan Peterson and stuff like that. And they're talking about how, can't remember off the head. Like this is just like roughly what they were talking about. But they're like, like sometimes strong people break rules when it's like the right time kind of thing. It's like I can't. I don't know how to explain it without it sounding terrible.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like it takes a type of discernment to know when it's appropriate to do so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes, but like you do live by the rules.
Yeah.
But sometimes rules need to be broken. But
Okay, maybe I think broken is kind of like
Or-
negative. I think
yeah, maybe
when a conviction, I feel like when
Yeah.
you are
Ooh, okay, yeah.
convicted
Yeah.
to actually do something, like there's an
something?
action that you have to do at that moment. Like
Yeah.
let's say, right? Is there a scenario on top of your head, Ethan?
Well, not
like
childish as mine, was thinking like, is it the moments like in K-dramas where like the guy and the girl are just looking at each other and they're friends or anything, and then he just goes for it? You know what I mean? But like in any moment, it could
Okay.
be anything else. It's
Yeah.
like your friends like crying or something.
Yeah.
And, like you
Okay.
decide to push the boundary and just
Correct.
go in
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
a hug.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
I think that's appropriate.
that's appropriate.
right.
I
That's
feel like
what I'm talking
appropriate.
about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
We're
about.
we're talking about
Sorry.
consoling people.
I was like,
but
when you just mentioned
if we're pushing
K-drama.
the boundary of relationship, that's another one I think as well.
Yeah.
Just go
Okay.
for it.
Yeah.
Okay, that can be an example of like, someone's crying and just, like sometimes people, actually that can be another conversation as well. Like,
Yeah.
what would you actually do when someone's crying? Because like Jara, he can be awkward, but
No, it's true. I was not alwaalways like this. Let me preface this. I was not always like this. I need to do some dig deeping, and I gotta dig Deep digging. I can't even speak English today. Oh man, hang out with Dinda too much.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
But
Boundary
Yeah,
pushed.
like-
but I mean, I don't mind talking into those things. I kind of want to expand on my own experiences and like we'll
Yeah.
compare our experiences in a
Yeah.
second and stuff like that. But yeah, as you were saying, Dindo.
Nah, I lost my train of thoughts, but I think it was just like in my head. Like, let's say someone texted you at 3 a.m. and just like, sometimes I'm already on my airplane mode probably, but it's just like if someone, like a girl, like this is a question, texted you at 3 a.m. and then she's like in a difficult situation, like
Yeah.
what would you do, right?
That's
Kind of
tough,
thing.
man.
But that's the thing. Sometimes I just like, as this is why we need the Holy Spirit and just like be in with Jesus, because I feel like the closer we are, we actually know.
Yeah,
like,
what
you
to
know what
do.
I mean? We would know what to do.
True.
You know what I mean? Because there are times that I feel like just the gray zones. I really don't like the gray zone sometimes. Like, should I? Like, what should I do? Should I
Should I do it?
interchange
Should I not
this
do
or
it?
should I
Yeah.
not? And sometimes it's like, yeah, like I feel like it's really hard to actually just rely on our thoughts in
Yeah.
that kind of circumstance.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why like seeking counsel or like asking like people who are like more mature than you or like your leaders is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we're talking about all kinds of different boundaries today.
Yeah.
Now we'll talk about pushing boundaries. Ooh.
Oh, pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I
You
agree.
can start, Ethan. What do you think about pushing boundaries?
Oh, about pushing boundaries, bro. Like in that sense, I think. Look, there are like moments where it's actually kind of funny you say at 3 a.m. a girl would text you. I had like a time where like a girl like 3 a.m. texted me and she was like full on having a panic attack.
Yeah.
Like she called me and she was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
And in that moment, and it takes me a while because I know what I have to do, and God really convicts me and
Yeah.
tells me what I have to do. But like the heart knows, but the body won't move. You know what I mean? My mouth won't move. So like it took me a while, but at that point you just have to do it. Like what else are you gonna say or anything? And I think that's why God really comes into play.
Yeah.
He'll push you boundaries. He will tell you what to do as well. And
Yeah.
like I think that's why sometimes like it's kind of carefree where like I kind of like I know when to like hit boundaries. I know when to like hug a kid. I know when to be there
Yeah.
for them. I know like this kid may be introverted, but I know he needs it at this moment.
Yeah.
Because God's there, and like
Yeah.
I think God also puts people in place to be there
Correct.
for you. Because like you said, right, the pastor and everything, the supervisor, whatever, like talks to you and everything, and that's why like we have stuff like Safe Church and everything. And for people who don't know what Safe Church is, essentially like a rule. Like in different churches have like different things, but to be able to put in place the boundaries between the kids and the leaders as well. So yeah, I think look, the gray zone's there,
Yeah.
and it's like, and I won't say I haven't run away from the gray zone because I have, and like, but the sooner you do it, the easier it gets to be able to like
Yeah.
push that, to be able to like that co-worker relationship where like you both may be like, okay, we'll talk about work, but to be able to like push that boundary and to be able to like about Jesus and everything, and like to be able to do that and like and sit in the awkwardness and sit in disagreement
Yeah.
is like a whole nother level that
Yeah.
that like people have mastered, and I really
Yeah.
want to do it myself.
Yeah.
So, like,
that's cool.
Like honestly, like this year's been like a time where I think I realized that I kind of like it. I kind of like seeing perspective and to be able to like know their boundaries, but also like push theirs little by little, not like too much. You know what I mean? But like understand where they're coming from and why that their heads work like this and everything. So I think that the gray zone's there. Understand it, feel it.
Yeah.
Honestly, the more you do it, the more comfortable you be in it. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think that.
Yeah, can you expand on your pushing boundaries part? Because I feel like it could be easily misheard or misread. Or, you know what I mean? Like in a sense, like what if like okay, for example, like what do you mean specifically? What's the context with that? Because what if we're talking about like boundaries with a leader and a kid, right? And you're talking about challenging them, which is
Okay.
right. But what about like some people might be like, I'm going to push the boundary and like maybe touch them here this time. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
maybe reiterate
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you
true,
mean
true,
by
true.
pushing
Yeah.
boundaries. Because I just thought about that. I'm like, what have I heard this wrong? Like what if I'm on the treadmill listening to this?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what is
yeah.
Ethan saying?
Yeah.
So like maybe
True.
make that a bit more clear.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think for one, it's like let's say an introvert wants to get into. I know a lot of introverts that go into Welcome Team. So Welcome Team to be able to, yeah, understand that, like, hey, like I have this boundary. Okay, let's say it's like very small, but I want to push it. I want to like push it a bit further, and that's what a leader's here for, to be able to like push you a bit further and everything. But in terms of physicality and everything, that's a whole different thing where you have to, like I said, like if you meet a friend the first time, right,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be hugging them and everything and like doing whatever. But it's like shaking their hand, getting to know them, and maybe you like push that boundary slowly. I think everyone has to understand that like when you first meet someone, you're like at square one, right? You're in stage one, but like as you go up the stages, the boundary kind of opens up and you get more authentic with each other. So that's like growing. That's to be able to understand each other. And that applies with growing your own boundary in every aspect, emotional, physical, I think, like career-wise, everything, to be able to like understand where you are at and everything. So like, I guess going back to it, it's like you work on it. You work on like this boundary that you understand yourself in. And it's kind of hard because I'm really just like thinking about, geez, we're talking about boundaries and I don't really like understand or anything. But like for me, that's it. To be able to be flexible, but respectful. To be able to be aware and yet aware of myself as well, aware of others. So that's legit. To be able to like understand yourself and take time. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be able to like meet someone, get to know them, and like my goal is to be able to hug them at the end of the day. That's not true. That's like it's gonna take time, and each person's different.
Yeah.
Like me and Jai sometimes maybe be able to like click the moment we see each other. Like it may be a year, but we are able to like click, and the boundary's still there. But like maybe with my childhood friend, I have to like understand where he's at. You know what I mean? And it's not as easy. You know what I mean? So it's
Okay.
like you
Alright.
have to understand the situation and them as well. So I think that's
So like
that clears it up.
So you're like pushing boundaries to open them up in a sense, like
Yeah,
to
to
be
get
more
to know them.
vulnerable with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Just in case, because
yeah, I know what you mean.
no, I'm just making it clear so they understand because, like, when we talk about boundaries, we could be talking about one thing and then, but we're also talking about another thing because
Yeah.
boundary throughout this whole talk has been used quite loosely. So I just,
I think we realized that there's a
it
lot.
could be. Yeah, so there's like a lot of different things, but I guess we can summarize and like make things a bit clear. So that was Ethan's point on boundaries and opening up people in a way where sometimes it's good to challenge people because people are closed up, and what he's trying to do is like expand their horizons, make them experience life and fellowship differently.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what he means by those boundaries. And then before earlier, we were talking about boundaries that protect us and protect the people around us as well.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
there's different types of boundaries and all that. Before I forget, because I feel like I should share this, what I would do in a situation, like when we talked about, for example, like an altar call and someone's crying and there's a girl and no one is available to pray for this person, which I found myself in this position a couple of times, and I'm like always looking around, like looking for some
just
female
happens.
leaders. I'm like, like help me out. I'm not touching this
you're
one,
not gonna do it.
right? But sometimes. Like again, you have to adapt and you have to
gotta
take
do
the
it.
situation as it is. So you go there and you pray for them because what's the worst thing that could happen? You don't pray for them. No one prays for them,
Yep.
right? So you go and you pray for them, and then afterwards you let a female leader know about this. You know what I mean? So just to cover yourself because the boundary is still there.
Yep.
Because you don't want them to keep coming to you afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, like this is just a leadership one-on-one thing. I feel like it's
Yeah.
just important to know this if you're a leader or aspiring leader.
I mean, it applies as well. Like as a guy, like let's say I'm a guy celly.
Yeah.
See one of my female cellies on there and everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, get one of her friends, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you gotta be there. And
Sometimes you
you
just
have to
gotta-
be respectful. So
Yeah.
leadership definitely 100%. But also
Yeah.
like this can be applied to like a guy, just doing church, really.
Just doing church.
Doing church.
Look,
Just doing protocol things. Yeah.
I know earlier I talked about sharing some stories and stuff, but I think we might not go into those today, just
Yeah.
because we've already spent a long, extensive time
Oh
on
my
Yeah.
gosh, bro.
on
We're already at
boundaries and
54.
stuff like that. I don't
What?
think
54?
I don't think we're gonna go into any funny stories today. Maybe another time because again we could talk about boundaries again. I mean we actually thought of talking about this on a more light light kind of like vibe, but it just turns out it went a bit the other way. So. So it wasn't quite light, but it was also not too heavy. So hopefully it was an enjoyable listen.
Yeah.
I hope you guys understand where we're coming from and why boundaries is important, why it's there to protect us, and like how it's biblical as well. Like I guess we loosely like threw in some biblical like principles in there and stuff like that. But just know that that's what I think. I think boundaries are a place to uphold people above yourself as well, because it's, you're thinking about other people.
And if
Right.
you want a back hug, think twice.
Think about that. I think it's also like you gotta have some like common
dangerous.
sense as well. To be honest, like look,
Dangerous.
like I'm not calling anyone out, but like, I mean, if you want to do that in your own time, that's all right. No one's looking. And if that's between you and that person, you guys know what that is, then you know what that is, right? But in front of an audience, be careful because people have their own mind, right?
yeah.
You know, and people will think things.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not safe church. All right. Anyways.
Yeah.
Is there anything you think we need to clear up before we finish, wrap things up?
I guess.
Maybe something we need to summarize. I feel like we've kind of. I think
Yeah.
we've covered it. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I think so. Look,
There's just a lot.
it's a lot to unpack.
It's always a lot. See, that's the
It's a
thing
lot to
about
unpack.
these conversations. It's like they can go on for ages, but
But look,
Yeah.
at
You
the
know.
end of the day, I think what we all realize is like boundaries are learned, and like we got to be flexible in everything, right? Like we're not gonna be sitting in schools thinking I know everything, right? We're
Yeah.
there to expand and
Yeah.
understand, and that comes through
Yeah.
experience and time.
yeah,
So I think we all understand that.
it's a growing thing.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like see, like so Ethan was talking about expanding his his followers, like not that he's God or anything, but like his I'm just trying to use a term that people
My
understand,
followers.
more generic, you know.
Yeah, my followers.
Like he's trying to expand this. Let's say this guy's like, you know, like experiencing fellowship differently and opening him up to be more vulnerable. See, that's that's a place where I'm finding myself right now, because I feel like I used to be quite open, but then I kind of closed myself up because I
Yeah.
felt like I need to prioritize other people.
Yeah.
Felt like it wasn't good.
Yep.
And now I'm too closed.
Ooh.
See, the thing was like Ethan was talking about just earlier about like how what were you saying, like, oh yeah, you could be kind of like playful with some like other guys like Nick
Yeah.
and stuff, but not Jaira. You just can't do it with this guy. I mean, that's kind of true. And I mean, it doesn't hurt me or anything. I'm fine with that. But it's just like, yeah, I think, yeah, maybe I don't know. I need to like work on that myself. So
Yeah.
that's just reinforcing Ethan's point on, you know.
And I
all
think that right there really goes to show that Jair's aware of like what he's like and his boundaries are. And for me, that's just the opposite. I find that I'm too open when I meet someone.
Don't close up too much, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
You end
I'm
up like
too
me.
open, right? So it's finding the balance in all
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
and
Yeah.
really
That's right. Healthy
there.
balance.
So I give you context about that one as well. Like Nick, I think guys as usual.
Yeah, yeah.
Any guy friendship, we're all very touchy. We like to like hug, tackle each other and everything. But with Jaira, I find it really hard to. So like every time, like, you know, like I reach out my arm, I want to. He just won't. He won't accept.
But you also
know?
wouldn't feel it, man. You wouldn't-
Exactly.
You'd be like, oh, I don't know.
So
that doesn't
like
feel
I may do
comfortable
that
for
to
me.
Nick, right? And he'd be like, "Oh, that's weird," but I go in again because I know his boundaries, right? But with Jaira, it's like I try once, I don't try again. So and that's a real life example for you. That's
There you go.
boundaries.
There you
That's
go,
boundaries
yeah.
right there, and I'm willing to push it.
I guess we'll see. We'll see
You'll
what
see
happens.
next time. I'll be right here,
Yeah,
right sitting in the middle of the couch.
yeah. Don't overdo it now, Ethan. But yeah, thank you. I think we'll just wrap things up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Fresh Goods today. Thanks for joining us as always. We appreciate you guys like tuning in,
Yeah.
supporting us. Like means a lot.
Yeah.
Um.
Is this
yeah.
my second time with the green screen as well?
Oh, actually, it was 3 times, but the first time it didn't work out. Remember, it was like.
Oh, yep.
Oh wait.
Okay.
Was this your first time?
I think it might be my first time.
Yeah. It's
All right,
his
let me
first
give
time
let
on
me
the
give
green
Jaira more work.
Yeah.
I want League of Legends Summoner's Rift. Okay. Now we got Fiji. Okay. With the turtle flying. There we go. Okay. There you go. It's all up there, right?
Turtle
Okay.
flying.
Yeah, with wings. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah.
But all right, yeah.
Challenge
Anyways,
again.
guys, you know, thank you, Ethan, Dinda, coming
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I won't thank myself. It's weird.
Oh, I thank you, Jaira.
Thanks, Ethan. Thank you very much. And yeah, again, I don't know how else to express my gratitude to all of you guys that listen and, you know, keep up to date with us. But yeah, anyways, I'm dragging this on and that's it.
Yeah.
We're out. Signing out. Stay fresh.
Stay fresh.
Oh yeah, follow us. Like, subscribe, all that, man. I mean, I'm trying not to say that too much, but you know, we gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta eat. All right, so yeah. Peace.
Bye.